In the final days of 2022, the atmosphere in the worker dormitory on the outskirts of Makati, Philippines felt suffocated by a dark secret. Within just a few short weeks, anonymous whispers had transformed into a storm of rumors, dragging the entire community into a vortex of suspicion and fear. Behind the doors of rundown boarding rooms lay relationships that crossed boundaries, shadowy transactions, and emotions compressed to the breaking point. When the truth began revealing itself piece by piece, everything became clear. The Monica Agustavia case was no longer simply about misguided love or bitter betrayal. It was a wake-up call about the horrifying price people must pay when they take one wrong step on a treacherous path. Monica Agustavia was born in August 2002 into a family in the bustling city of Surabaya in East Java Province, Indonesia. She was born and raised in a well-off family. As her father was a respected and successful businessman in the hotel industry, his work frequently required him to be away from home, living and working in Australia. However, in 2011, a significant turning point came for the family when her father decided to shift career directions. He accepted an offer to take on a new position in Mandaluyong, Philippines. Not wanting geographic distance to continue dividing the family, not wanting his children to grow up without a father figure, he decided to bring his wife and daughter Monica with him to the Philippines. In April 2013, after nearly 2 years of preparation and arrangements, the entire family officially relocated to Mandaluyong to begin a new life. After a lengthy process dealing with paperwork, the family finally completed all necessary legal procedures and were officially recognized as Philippine citizens, opening a new chapter in their lives on this tropical land. But the peace didn't last long. Her father suddenly became entangled in a serious business dispute with an entrepreneur in Surabaya, Indonesia. The initial disagreements quickly turned into fierce confrontation. The conflict escalated to the point where the rival didn't hesitate to fly to Mandaluyong, Philippines, for a direct confrontation. After many tense arguments, the matter was ultimately taken back to Surabaya to be resolved under Indonesian law. While her father had to return to his homeland to handle this complex lawsuit, Monica was forced to stay with one of her father's close friends in the Philippines. However, the dispute didn't stop in Surabaya, but also spread to Jakarta, bringing serious consequences no one anticipated. The more parties involved, the more dangerous and out of control the situation became. The peak of the tragedy arrived in 2017, when Monica's mother was brutally murdered by a business rival. After this tragedy, Monica's father couldn't escape the legal whirlwind either. He was arrested, tried, and had to serve a 7-month prison sentence. When he completed his sentence and was released in 2018, the first thing he did was return to Mandaluyong to see his daughter after a long separation. However, work obligations and financial responsibilities didn't allow him to stay long-term. Nevertheless, instead of bringing Monica back to Indonesia with him, he made the decision to let his daughter continue staying in the Philippines alone. He believed that the education system in the Philippines was higher quality, with an international learning environment and better opportunities for English proficiency compared to Indonesia. Moreover, after the recent bloody events, he thought the Philippines was a safer place for his daughter. But behind those seemingly reasonable justifications, no one could foresee that an uncertain future full of loneliness and harsh trials was silently waiting for Monica ahead. In November 2018, unexpected good news came to the family when Monica's father decided to enter into a second marriage. Monica returned to Surabaya to attend her father's wedding. There, for the first time, Monica met her father's new family, especially the woman who would become her stepmother, along with other family members. Initially, Monica couldn't help but worry about whether she would be accepted into this new family. But those concerns quickly dissipated when she received affectionate acceptance from everyone. The genuine warmth and friendly attitude from her stepmother and family members quickly helped Monica integrate naturally. She felt real love and care, causing her heart to gradually open and believe that she had truly become part of this new family. After her father's wedding, Monica returned to Mandaluyong with a more uplifted spirit to continue her educational journey. She diligently pursued her studies and finally completed her high school program, officially graduating in mid-2020. However, This was also when the entire world was immersed in a global health crisis due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Due to strict social distancing regulations and lockdown orders, the graduation ceremony was only held online via Zoom. Immediately after receiving her diploma, she actively prepared for the university entrance exam with high determination. Her relentless efforts were properly rewarded when Monica passed the entrance exam for José Rizal University in Mandaluyong. In September 2021, Monica officially set foot on the university campus. 5 years had passed, and Monica began to feel the warm happiness she had always longed for as family life became more peaceful than ever. Her stepmother, the new woman in her life, had received her like a biological child, giving Monica constant love and care. She felt the warmth from her new family, feeling like she had found a peaceful place to lean on. Nevertheless, that love still couldn't replace the care from her father, who always tried not to abandon his daughter. Despite being busy with work in Jakarta, he didn't forget to send money regularly each month to provide Monica with the best things. However, in August 2022, Monica's seemingly stable life was suddenly upended when she received a strange message from a man named Ridwan Erlangga. Monica didn't know this person at all and didn't understand why he had her phone number. Feeling confused and worried, Monica asked her father about this man. And it was then that she learned that Ridwan was her stepmother's younger brother, someone she had never met before. A week after the initial message exchange, Monica and Ridwan arranged to meet at a cafe in Mandaluyong. This was the first time she met this uncle-in-law, and the atmosphere of the meeting was quite relaxed and friendly. They spent nearly the entire afternoon sitting and chatting, sharing with each other about their current lives and their experiences living far from home. Ridwan appeared interested in Monica's life, asking about her studies, work, and the difficulties she was facing. However, during the conversation, Monica soon discovered an important truth that no one had mentioned before. Ridwan was a married man. He was already married and had a young son living with his wife in Jakarta, Indonesia. What was even more surprising was that Ridwan had been working and living in the Philippines for nearly a year, meaning he came here not long after Monica started university, yet he had only recently proactively contacted her. When Monica questioned this, Ridwan explained that initially he was too busy with his new job, struggling to adapt to life in the Philippines. Only when everything had gradually stabilized did he have time to think about contacting family members, including Monica. Although from the outside, Monica's life in the Philippines seemed peaceful and adequate, the reality behind those appearances was neither luxurious nor easy as many people imagined. Although her father still sent monthly support money from Jakarta, that amount was just enough to cover the most basic needs. Additionally, limitations in international transfer policies between Indonesia and the Philippines, along with expensive bank transaction fees, had made financial support from afar much more difficult and costly. Recognizing this situation clearly, Monica understood she couldn't completely depend on her father and was forced to find ways to manage, earning additional income to reduce her financial burden. Therefore, Monica and her close friend Devon Benavente joined hands to open an online secondhand clothing business. This small business venture, while not generating huge income, truly helped Monica have an additional stable financial source to not only pay remaining tuition fees but also cover daily living expenses. However, having to both study and work sometimes forced her to miss some classes. The lack of knowledge from missed classes combined with the pressure of balancing the roles of student and small entrepreneur created no small mental burden, making her already challenging student life even more stressful. Sometime later, as the financial situation became increasingly difficult, Monica began to realize something worrying. Her father was increasingly forgetting or delaying sending her monthly support money. The transfers were no longer as regular as before, sometimes late by weeks, even months without any news. This not only caused financial difficulties but also made Monica feel extremely angry and disappointed. She wondered whether she was still a priority in her father's life, especially when she had tried so hard to be independent, studying and working to avoid being completely dependent on family. The conflicts over financial issues became even more intense and tense when Monica began having phone arguments with her stepmother about the distribution of family support responsibilities. Each conversation made her feel more deeply wounded. The pain became even more agonizing when she learned her father was about to have another daughter with his new wife. This news made her feel replaced, as if her place in her father's heart was gradually being taken by a new younger sister. Negative thoughts increasingly crowded her mind. Did her father still love her as before? When the new sibling was born, would she be completely forgotten? Monica felt abandoned by her biological father and was gradually losing her important position in the family. From then on, the family's financial situation worsened, and sending support money to Monica faced increasingly more obstacles. From a father who once harbored grand dreams, always wanting his daughter to have the opportunity to study abroad, now Monica's father and stepmother had to accept a painful reality. They were facing serious economic difficulties. The business was no longer going smoothly, family expenses were rising high, plus preparing to welcome the new child about to be born had stretched their finances to the breaking point. After many sleepless nights of consideration, they were forced to make a difficult decision: to inform Monica that from now on, they would not be able to continue providing full financial support. Like in previous years, they might still try to send a little money occasionally, but it would no longer be the regular and stable support she was accustomed to receiving. This information came to Monica like a shock, leaving the young woman bewildered, worried, and insecure in the face of these two sudden changes. Facing this difficult situation, she felt pressured to face financial problems herself, with no family support to rely on. Although life sometimes had difficulties, Monica still found ways to enjoy every moment of her student life. She regularly spent time going out, eating and watching movies with Ridwan, the uncle-in-law who not only loved her, but also always gave her special attention. Ridwan was not only someone who emotionally supported Monica in difficult times, but was also an enthusiastic supporter of her efforts. He regularly bought products that Monica and her friends sold, not just to help financially, but also as a way to show support for his niece's business. Together with her close friend Devon, Monica had started a small business project selling handmade perfumes. Although the initial products were quite crude and the quality not yet perfect, thanks to constant creativity and the enthusiasm of both, they gradually built up a loyal customer base, helping her have additional income and be more independent in her life away from home. However, what was worrying was that the relationship between Monica and Ridwan gradually exceeded the normal boundaries of uncle and niece, putting both in an awkward situation. The initial meetings just to chat now became more intimate, with gestures and words going beyond proper boundaries. Ridwan began to feel worried about what was happening and decided to keep this relationship secret from his wife, hoping to resolve it himself before things went too far. However, no secret can be kept forever. Ranti, Ridwan's wife and also Monica's friend on social media, accidentally discovered abnormal signs, perhaps from posted photos, messages, or simply a woman's intuition when noticing changes in how her husband behaved. Although feeling hurt and uncomfortable, Ranti still tried to stay calm. She didn't rush to confront him but took time to think, looking for ways to resolve the issue as peacefully as possible, wanting to protect the family and avoid causing more hurt to everyone. In mid-October 2022, Monica proactively approached Ridwan and frankly expressed her desire to buy a new iPhone 14. She explained that this phone was truly necessary for her online business. Her current phone was too old, causing serious obstacles to her work. Monica also didn't hide her difficult financial situation. She confided in Ridwan about how her parents were no longer able to provide full support as before, about the pressure to support herself while still having to worry about studies. Her voice had a bit of pleading when she said she didn't expect Ridwan to buy that expensive phone outright, only hoping her uncle could help in part, even just contributing a little. Although Ridwan really wanted to help Monica, his economic circumstances didn't allow it. Ridwan still had many responsibilities to his family in Indonesia, especially his sister of school age who needed support. This forced him to refuse Monica's request, despite feeling troubled inside. Monica was disappointed at not getting the phone she desired, while Ridwan felt guilty for not being able to do more for his niece. Both were immersed in feelings of sadness, but the feelings between them became increasingly complicated. Over time, the relationship between Monica and Ridwan grew closer. Ridwan always cared for Monica, but he also tried to restrain himself so these feelings wouldn't exceed limits. Ranti, Ridwan's wife, although fond of Monica, couldn't help but notice the special attention her husband gave the young woman. And then after many days of inner turmoil, Ridwan decided to do something special to compensate Monica. Despite financial difficulties, he boldly borrowed money from the company and used an additional portion of personal savings to buy Monica the iPhone 14 she had been longing for. With the gift box in hand, Ridwan went straight to Devon's boarding house, where Monica often came to sell goods, and gave her the special gift. Monica couldn't help but be surprised and moved to see the new phone in her hands. Tears rolled down her face, both grateful and happy. In that moment, Monica knelt down to express deep gratitude to Ridwan, making him feel his efforts were completely worthwhile. From early November 2022, the relationship between Monica and Ridwan began to go further. Monica no longer resisted intimate gestures from Ridwan. She even proactively created opportunities for this relationship to become closer. In mutual agreement about sincere feelings, Monica and Ridwan began sharing intimacies beyond the boundaries of uncle and niece. Devon, Monica's close friend, not only didn't stop or oppose, but even lent his bed to them, thinking this would help both release emotions that had been suppressed for so long. However, this increasingly deviant relationship didn't escape the notice of Nino Pilon, a close friend working and sharing a boarding room with Ridwan. Nino began to notice clear and worrying changes in his friend. Previously, Ridwan was an extremely family-oriented man, always talking about missing his wife and children in Jakarta, regularly making video calls home every night, counting each day until his employment contract ended so he could return to Indonesia to reunite with loved ones. But now, Ridwan was like a completely different person. He no longer mentioned his wife and children, but instead enthusiastically boasted to Nino about buying Monica an iPhone 14. Even during drunken moments, Ridwan proudly and unabashedly admitted he had had intimate relations with his niece. Nino was completely shocked, confused, and extremely disappointed to witness the friend he once respected now seeming to have completely forgotten his responsibilities to his family back home. This story not only made Nino gradually lose faith in Ridwan as a person, but also raised deep concerns in him about the incalculable consequences of this wrong relationship unfolding. Nino was also acquainted with Monica and Devon because he had been invited to their boarding house many times to eat and chat. As a Filipino native of Makati, Nino had family living right in the city, so he often took the opportunity to visit his parents and siblings once a week on weekends. However, since discovering this serious matter, Nino could no longer maintain inner calm. Each time he went home to see his family, he felt heavy, worried, and unable to be cheerful. As before, Nino felt increasingly guilty and uneasy when thinking about Ranti. The feeling of wronging this innocent woman increasingly tormented him, urging Nino that he had to do something, couldn't continue staying silent in the face of wrongdoing. Since Nino and Ranti were already friends on social media, after many sleepless nights of thought, Nino finally decided to send Ranti a message in English, carefully attaching undeniable evidence. Several photos capturing scenes of Ridwan and Monica together too intimately, moments far exceeding the boundaries of a normal uncle-niece relationship. Not stopping there, Nino also attached evidence of the loan amounting to 50 million Indonesian rupiah that Ridwan had requested from the company, a large sum of money not at all used to support his family or business matters as he had claimed, but to buy an expensive iPhone for Monica. Nino's action would certainly lead many to think he was meddling in other people's business, interfering in private life and destroying another family's happiness. But with his naturally straightforward, honest, and truthful nature, Nino couldn't ignore or turn a blind eye to the wrongdoing happening right before his eyes. For him, this was a matter of conscience and moral responsibility. That woman had the right to know the truth about the husband she was trusting and waiting for. It was thanks to Nino's brave action that Ranti could no longer remain silent. After receiving the message with undeniable evidence, she immediately called Nino directly to ask carefully about the whole story, wanting to know details of how everything happened and how long it had been going on. Fortunately, Ranti was not at all unfamiliar with Nino. She knew clearly who he was, because Ridwan had introduced Nino many times in video calls via Messenger, always praising and calling him his closest, most trustworthy friend in the Philippines. Because of this, Ranti believed what Nino told her. However, despite being hurt and angry, Ranti didn't rush to call and confront her husband directly immediately. She knew that if she kept this matter just between husband and wife, Ridwan might deny it or make excuses. Instead, with wisdom and determination, Ranti frankly shared the entire matter with Monica's father. When he heard the whole story, the father was extremely shocked, angry to the extreme, and thoroughly disappointed. He couldn't believe his daughter could fall into such a wrong relationship with her stepmother's own brother, who was also a married man. Meanwhile, when news of the matter being exposed reached Monica's ears, she exploded in fierce anger. But what was surprising was that she wasn't angry with herself, but all her anger was directed at Ridwan. Monica firmly believed that her uncle hadn't kept the secret, had opened his mouth to reveal the sensitive private matters between them to his wife, including her receiving the expensive iPhone from him. She felt betrayed and deeply hurt. But the truth was quickly clarified when Nino decided to face it directly. He straightforwardly sought out Ridwan and honestly admitted that he was the one who had sent the evidence to Ranti. He couldn't watch his close friend do wrong and let an innocent woman be deceived. Nino had prepared mentally for a fierce confrontation, afraid that Ridwan would see him as a betrayer, a cowardly friend who stabbed him in the back. Completely contrary to the reaction Nino feared, Ridwan wasn't at all angry or blamed his friend. After a long silence, he sighed and said, "You did the right thing, Nino. You're a true friend. I'm the one who was wrong." Ridwan admitted that Nino's action, though painful, was completely right and worthy of respect. It was the action of a friend who truly cared about him. What happened was like a hard slap in the face, forcing Ridwan to face his own conscience. He felt extremely regretful, ashamed for letting deviant emotions control him, causing himself to fall onto the wrong path. In the sleepless nights that followed, Ridwan constantly tormented himself for his mistakes. The original purpose when he decided to leave his family to work in the Philippines was to earn money, accumulate to build a better future for his wife and children. But now he had completely lost his way, forgotten his responsibilities and promises to his family. This awakening forced Ridwan to stop and rethink all of his wrongful actions during the past time. On Monday morning, November 21st, 2022, Ridwan did something that surprised everyone. He submitted his resignation letter. This was a sudden decision no one could have expected, as if he wanted to escape from everything happening. However, his resignation letter was flatly rejected by HR with the reason that his employment contract was still valid until mid-2023. According to contract terms, if he wanted to quit before the deadline, he had to give at least 3 months' notice and could be fined a large amount of money. This matter not only left Ridwan's colleagues astonished, buzzing about the real reason behind this unusual decision, but also made someone else extremely angry, none other than Devin. Monica's close friend had received support money from Ridwan many times, had him buy online products to help their small store, and regularly came to Ridwan's boarding room to eat and ask for favors. Now, with the financial source about to disappear, Devin appeared extremely upset and worried. He quickly found a way to pull Monica in, pressuring and demanding she find a way to persuade her uncle to continue financial support, continue buying their products like before. But this time Monica firmly refused, unwilling to comply with Devin's demand. She explained that now the situation was different. Nino was closely monitoring every action of Ridwan, observing every call and message, and ready to report immediately to Ranti if he discovered anything unusual. There were even times when Ridwan tried to secretly call Monica, but Nino cleverly intervened, finding ways to prevent him so Ridwan couldn't say private things or continue helping Monica and Devin as before. Sunday afternoon, November 27th, 2022, Devin, carrying anger and determination for revenge, secretly went to Ridwan's workshop, where he thought he would find his target to vent his frustration. However, an irony occurred. Instead of facing Ridwan, Devin ran into Nino, Ridwan's close friend, who was working there. In a fit of rage, Devin didn't hesitate to lunge at Nino, punches and blows continuously landing hard on his head and face. While attacking, Devin screamed in madness, accusing Nino of interfering in the private matter between Ridwan and Monica, making his rage flare even more. Although Nino tried to fight back, it was clear that Devin's strength and insanity far exceeded his defensive capabilities. After a series of vicious attacks, Devin delivered a powerful kick to Nino's stomach, causing him to fall to the ground, his head hitting hard against the flower pots placed nearby. In his frenzied state, Devin's eyes, bloodshot and full of hatred, swept across the room and stopped at two 24-pound gas cylinders in the corner, one of which was leaking. Without hesitating a second, Devin lifted the gas cylinder and used it as a lethal weapon, continuously attacking Nino's head as he lay helpless on the floor. Blood flowed continuously from the victim's eyes, nose, and mouth. In just a few minutes, Nino collapsed completely, lying motionless on the cold floor, only emitting weak groans as if about to breathe his last, "If you dare interfere in my business again, next time I'll take your life." Devin roared in a threatening voice before throwing the gas cylinder down on the floor, hurriedly jumping on the motorcycle parked outside and speeding away like flying around 7 p.m. that same day. When darkness had fallen, a local resident passing by the workshop discovered Nino lying in a pool of blood, in an extremely pitiful condition, with many bruises and swelling all over his body. It was known that Nino was not someone with good health. He suffered from chronic asthma since childhood and also had leg problems. Nino's inherently weak health condition made his death even more heartbreaking and tragic than ever. With that physical condition, he had absolutely no ability to resist or defend himself against a young, frenzied, and vicious attacker like Devin. What was ironic and haunting was that at the exact time this horrific murder occurred, Ridwan, whom many believed might be the real target, was working at a completely different location, far from the scene. When news of Nino's death was reported to Ridwan, he absolutely couldn't believe his ears. The shock was so great it left him as if paralyzed. Ridwan was pained to the core, both for losing his closest friend and for the feeling of guilt tormenting him that he himself was an indirect cause leading to this tragedy. If not for his wrongful relationship with Monica, if not for Nino intervening because of him, then that kind friend would still be alive. This thought haunted Ridwan constantly. 2 days later, on November 29, 2022, Philippine police forces proceeded to arrest Devin Benavente. Tracking down the perpetrator wasn't at all difficult because the surveillance camera system in the workshop area had clearly recorded his image appearing at exactly the time the incident occurred, wearing an all-black outfit, attire that many criminals often choose when committing crimes to avoid detection. Initially, when police showed him the video footage, Devin appeared panicked and confused, continuously asking, "How is there a camera there? I didn't know there was a camera." But faced with undeniable evidence, he finally had to bow his head and admit the entire brutal criminal act he had committed. However, throughout the interrogation process, Devin firmly denied that Monica had instigated, directed, or ordered him to commit the violent act he told police. "I was really angry because Nino ruined our plan. His interference obstructed all our calculations, cut off the financial support we were receiving from Ridwan. But I want to assert one thing. We had no intention of taking Nino's life. We only wanted to teach him a lesson so he wouldn't interfere in our business anymore." Devin's confession, while seeming to try to mitigate his guilt, actually revealed even more clearly the vicious, uncontrolled nature and disregard for consequences of someone who had let anger and greed completely dominate his actions. The fact that he said, "no intention to kill," while having repeatedly hit the victim's head with a gas cylinder, showed serious irresponsibility and lack of legal awareness. As for Monica, at the exact time the murder occurred on Sunday afternoon, November 27th, she was present at a family party with many witnesses, thus having a clear alibi. Initial police investigation also showed she wasn't directly present at the scene or participating in the violent act. However, because there was too much circumstantial evidence related to her, including personal conflicts between Nino and Ridwan because of Monica, the complex and wrongful romantic situation between Monica and Ridwan, along with Devon being her close friend and business partner. In the initial stage, authorities reached a rather hasty and mistaken conclusion, believing that Monica was the mastermind behind the case. In the tense trial session, Devon's father flew from Indonesia to the Philippines to testify in defense of his son. Standing before the panel of judges, he asserted with a firm tone that Monica was the one behind the entire plan. According to his testimony, Monica had cunningly exploited Devon's friendship and trust, deliberately manipulated and directed everything from behind, then cleverly shifted blame onto his son to escape herself. He described Monica as a calculating girl who knew how to keep herself in a safe position while letting others get their hands dirty. These heavily accusatory testimonies from him only increased the tense atmosphere in the courtroom and made public opinion doubt more about Monica's real role in this tragic case. On the defense side, lawyer Dennis Greco tried his best to protect his client with a bold legal strategy. He asserted before the court that Devon's action was essentially an instinctive self-defense reaction to fierce resistance from victim Nino. The lawyer argued that his client was just a 25-year-old youth, at the prime of his strength and full of ambitions, had never had any criminal record, was in the process of building a career and future. In contrast, the victim was an older man with already weak health due to suffering from many chronic illnesses. Lawyer Greco continued to argue that Nino's death might just be an unfortunate accident, unwanted by anyone, occurring during a fierce scuffle between the two sides. He emphasized this wasn't a premeditated murder case, not an intentional act to take another person's life based on these arguments. He requested the court consider mitigating circumstances for Devon's sentence. However, the prosecution with solid evidence firmly rejected all arguments from the defense lawyer. The prosecutor emphasized that Devon's actions had far exceeded the level of conflict or self-defense that the law could accept and forgive. The fact that Devon used a heavy 24-pound gas cylinder as a lethal weapon to continuously hit the victim's head was clearly undeniable proof that the defendant had the intention to cause serious injury, even to take the victim's life. The prosecutor continued to present additional evidence from testimonies of many witnesses. People who had lived near Devon, worked or had contact with him all unanimously testified that this was a youth with an extremely hot temper, easily explosive, frequently fighting with others over trivial matters. In fact, Devon even had a history of being involved in small-scale fights and violence before that hadn't been strictly dealt with. All these factors strongly reinforced the prosecution's argument. This case wasn't an impulsive scuffle or unfortunate accident as the defense lawyer tried to argue, but was an intentional act to take another person's life, carried out with hatred, viciousness, and completely premeditated from beginning to end. On May 29, 2023, after many months of tense trial, the Mandaluyong Regional Supreme Court finally issued an official verdict. Devon Benavente was convicted of murder and had to receive a severe sentence, 25 years imprisonment. He was required to serve a minimum of 12 years in prison before being eligible to apply for parole or be considered for sentence reduction for good rehabilitation. As for Monica, after thorough investigation, the prosecutor's office and court didn't find sufficient specific direct evidence proving that she participated in planning, instigating, or directing Devon to commit the crime. Therefore, Monica was acquitted and released. After being released, Monica's father called repeatedly and tried his best to persuade her to return to Indonesia, to return to family to start a new life, away from the noise in the Philippines. However, Monica firmly refused her father's offer. She shared that after many years of living here, she had become too accustomed to life in the Philippines and wanted to stay. As for Ridwan, after the trial session closed, Ridwan decided to terminate his employment contract in the Philippines and return to Indonesia to reconcile with his family. This decision not only came from the pain of losing his close friend Nino, but was also an opportunity for him to leave behind the conflicts and troubles that had drawn him into the vortex of tragedy. The Monica Agustavia case wasn't just a story about a life caught in the vortex of wrong decisions, but was also clear proof of the price that must be paid when love becomes deviant and crosses moral boundaries. The love between Monica and Ridwan, although starting from caring gestures, gradually transformed, becoming a dangerous relationship that threatened the lives of those around them. And that is today's case. Thank you for watching and see you in the next videos.